Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
All right, it's a hottest takes edition of Flagrant Howls here. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, and happy day of Timberwolves playing at Oklahoma City, fresh off two disastrous losses on the road to the Suns and the Kings. So we'll get into our hottest takes about the current Minnesota Timberwolves, but shout out to Wolves Realtor Heather to start the show here, Dex.
Yeah, that's right. Go to wolvesrealtor.com, not just for your consultation needs for real estate, which are obviously very important. You can win free Timberwolves tickets right now as well by going to wolvesrealtor.com. Makes life very easy. It's one of the more complicated process to buying a home, but at the same time, how about just some free Wolves tickets, which is great. You can get 2 tickets right now for the Wednesday, December 17th game against the Memphis Grizzlies by going to wolvesrealtor.com. When you sign up you'll get a free schedule magnet on my fridge. Don't underestimate the power of a great schedule magnet, okay? I know everything's on your phone. It's still nice to just look at it right there, and it holds up all the Christmas cards too. wolvesrealtor.com. Heather you can hook you up with some free Wolves tickets, enter a chance for that, and then also she can handle any of the buying and selling needs with buying or selling your home. wolvesrealtor.com.
And North American Banking Company also powering these hottest takes today. Minnesota-based since 1998 with 6 locations in the Twin Cities. And with how important online and mobile banking are in today's banking world, you might think, well, it's a local community bank. They probably don't have a great app. No, they do, because their app is on the same platform, same tools, I should say, as a lot of national banks have. So whether it's cutting-edge online tools or you're just looking for a better personal relationship with the people that manage your financials, North American Banking Company can give you a better banking experience. Find out more at nabankcode.com/Mackey or visit any of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Okay. So Dex told us he has a take that might even weave into reckless speculation.
Yeah.
Start there.
Just a turducken of reckless speculation as we do here. A festive slice there. Here's my hottest take. I have the trade candidate for Tim Connolly. Tim always cooking up trades. Speaking of cooking up great meals on Thanksgiving, he's going to be cooking up some trades here like he always is. And I believe on December 15th, people, which is also my birthday, so it can be a birthday present for me too, you can start being, a lot of these players become trade eligible. Here's my hottest take. The Timberwolves, to solve their point guard problem, should trade for Tre Jones. That is my hottest Wolves take. So Tre Jones having a great year so far with the Chicago Bulls, career year. Shooting 48% from the floor, 12.3 points per game. Solves a need for the Wolves that they are sorely trying to figure out, right? Dante's running some point. Mike Conley's coming off the bench. Rob Dillingham ain't ready. Tre Jones fits the bill. He's also making just $8 million in annual salaries. So, yes, the Wolves are, in confusing situations with their great apron stuff, which I will still try to understand someday in this life. But
it's probably not going to matter for an $8 million player. So even Dex is going to be good on that math.
Which is why, for example, I'm not even entertaining the Kyrie one, which I don't know if you guys are thinking I was going to go that realm, because I'm not even going to try to figure out how the math works there. But with Tre Jones making $8 million per, having a really solid year, he obviously opened his career with the Spurs. He's having a great year with the Bulls. 25 years old. Bring home the Apple Valley kid, obviously brother of Tyus Jones. My hottest Wolves take, go acquire Tre Jones. It might not be like the Rudy Gobert or trading Cat. It's not like on the super sexy scale, but look, Tre Jones would help fit the Timberwolves' problems here. Go trade for Tre Jones. That is my hottest take.
It's because I didn't know who you were gonna. Have you guys seen any actual desperate corners of Wolves Twitter or Reddit, like the Kyrie thing? I know that there's Dallas is gonna start selling pieces off at some point. I have not seen that officially, but I could definitely see if things get really desperate. But then financially, how do you make it work? When you initially said the point guard they should trade for, Trey, and if you would have stopped right there, I would have thought, oh, this is a Trae Young discussion we're about to have.
I should have teased it more. Trey.
But it's a name. Yeah, I mean it's so Chicago started off really hot, and then they lost a bunch of games in a row. And ordinarily, when Wolves fans have been poking around at the Bulls roster with like trade machine ruminations, the guy that you poke around to be a point guard or a combo guard is the other 25-year-old Kobe White.
Yep.
But they've got kind of a surplus at a position that the Wolves are desperate to get more production out of. And obviously, they're not to the point where they trust Rob Dillingham to be that guy. He played only 9 minutes against the Kings in a game where you're stretching Conley to 25 minutes again on the road. And by the way, Dillingham played 9 minutes, 0 made shots. He did make a couple he had a couple steals in the game, and he does have little bursts of energy, and he gets open looks for some guys, and that's great. But they don't trust him to play more than like 6 to 10 minutes in most games. So I don't know exactly what the Bulls' plans are going forward, but it does feel like there's a couple more moves to be made there. And with Tre Jones, he actually, if he's going to keep playing the way, he's not a great shooter, but he's very good at other things, and he's kind of a glue guy that you don't have to worry about if he gets shots or not. He can impact the game in a lot of other ways. But he has one of the more valuable contracts for a guy of his skill set at $8 million a year. For the next 2 years, and then the third year is a team option at $8 million. So he's, then the question is, all right, well, how would you acquire him? You'd probably have to trade DiVincenzo. So and maybe there's another angle to this, but would you be better if you swapped DiVincenzo for Tre Jones? You'd be swapping out an off-ball three-point gunner that does a lot of other things for more of an on-ball traditional point guard who doesn't shoot well. So your three-point shooting would take a hit.
Yeah.
But maybe the organization of your offense in some other instances. It's interesting. I remain fascinated by the Kobe White idea. And he missed a bunch of times. He's played a handful of games, but he missed the first month of the season with, was it like a calf or something? And he's $13 million this year, and then a free agent after the season. So you'd have to figure out a way to keep him in mind, or to give him some money. So I love the new name that Dex is throwing out, and I do think that if you just had, I don't think you need like another superstar to fix some of these issues, because a lot of these lineup combos work well together, and you just need an organizer and someone who's a little bit more of an adult in the room on the court than Anthony Edwards has shown to be in some of these situations. Maybe Tre Jones could be that guy. I'm interested.
Calming influence, right? Like that's what you need. It feels like these last two games when things have started to spiral, nobody on the floor can calm it down. And that's ridiculous. Yeah. So now DiVincenzo, I obviously don't want to trade. Like, he does give you a lot, I think. He's not a point guard, but he gives you a lot. But you're probably going to have to give up something to get what we're talking about. And to be honest, I don't think if you keep the roster construction as it currently is, I don't think you're going to make any type of playoff run. Like, I don't think that you're going to win 2 rounds, for instance, with the current lack of organization that this team has on the floor in absolutely crucial moments. And in fact, I think it would get worse. So I am for whatever sort of just brings a lower heartbeat in. Just somebody who can remain calm, tell everyone it's going to be fine, organize things, and the lack of that in these last 2 games has been a huge problem.
So I guess, would you guys both be okay? Let's just say that's what it is. It's Dante for Tre Jones, or at least, the bulk of that. Are you good with that? Does that scare you?
I want to pull up the Wolves cap sheet here before I say this.
Because that is the name, I've seen. If they were to make a trade like that, Dante would be probably the one going out.
See, I'd love to keep Dante if possible, but
would you trade some of your youth?
So you could, in terms of matching salaries.
Yeah.
The Mike Conley at a $10.7 million expiring would work, I think. But then what are they? You'd have to kick in like a draft pick. What are the Bulls getting out of that? Is the question. You could go on the other side and say, "Hey, we'll give you Rob Dillingham at $6.5 million." You could make that work financially within the parameters. You might have to kick in one other thing mathematically, but But okay, what are they getting out of that? They're getting a developmental guy with some upside at a position that they already are like trading from a surplus. So it's tough, man. And the other players you'd be looking at, let's say we're going to get frisky and say, you know what, we would move either Naz Reid or Julius Randle for a guard. Well, the salaries don't work. So then you have to turn into a bigger deal. Do the Bulls have a big that they would kick in? It gets complicated because he only makes $8 million in terms of like how you could facilitate that trade. But
I know that there's currently, and I understand it, there's currently frustration with Julius, but in my opinion, he's going nowhere. Like
going nowhere
as far as being
season,
traded. Yes, I don't think he's being traded.
I think he could get traded in the next 12 months, though.
Well, sure, but I don't think he's going to be traded within the season. I think I think when the season is done, Naz Reid and Julius are on your roster. Now, as far as the young players go, DiVincenzo is the most. I mean, I could see it. I don't love it, but I could see that one. I think Randall and Naz are really secure here for now.
Man, the one of us local angle on bringing Tre Jones. We already had Tyus. They drafted Tyus. Be fun to have maybe both
Probably
those
should
guys
have kept
at some
Tyus,
point.
to be honest with you, but that's another discussion.
Yeah. Okay, this kind of piggybacks into my hottest Wolves take, which is they don't have, whether it's point guard or even at this point, I know that they, like against the Kings, they are still playing a 10-man rotation, which is great. But it is like the edge of a 7-man rotation. Old Finchy is back because he winds up, and you're trying to grind out a win in the second half on the road, and so he's leaning on Julius for 40 minutes, and Rudy played 41 minutes in that game because he felt like you had to. So the 8th, 9th, and 10th guys off the bench, the 3 that are replacing Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the former 8-man rotation, Dillingham played 9 minutes, TJ Shannon played 7, and Jalen Clark played 6. So Finchy's like, my trust tree, Conley's going to play 25. My trust tree is smaller. So my hottest take off this is, it's not even a Finch take. I'm looking inward here. Mm-hmm. I think he thought this. Maybe Tim Connelly thought this, but I will own it myself. I have been talking about the Timberwolves on podcasts or radio for the better part of 20 years. And I've been wrong on a lot of things. When you're slinging takes every day, you're going to be wrong on some things, right? It's possible that one of the 3 most wrong takes I've had to this point talking about the Timberwolves was TJ Shannon. What is happening? I know he was injured for a while. Yeah. Maybe there was a little injury before then.
Horton said that he was playing hurt previously.
Okay.
So he did open the season not being healthy.
So much like with J.J. McCarthy on the Vikings front, I'm willing to exercise some patience here.
Yep.
But the way that dude dominated as a scorer in college, was a first-round pick. He's a veteran young player in terms of his age. Dominated Summer League, dominated preseason, showed flashes in the playoff rotation. And per 36 minutes so far in the 8 games he's played, per 36 minutes, he's averaging 7 points.
Yep.
It's crazy. Dude, he's played, going back before the injury, and again, I'll give him some benefit of the doubt if he was playing hurt, okay. In his 4 previous games, the game against Sacramento, and then the 3 previous games where maybe he was a little banged up. He made 1 shot in those 4 games. He wasn't playing 40 minutes a night. He played a total of like 40 minutes overall, 46 minutes overall. 1 made shot in those 46 minutes of his last 4 games. So I am a little befuddled. And I think the Wolves kind of went in banking on, it's going to suck to say goodbye to Nickeil, but we know we got Jalen Clark's defense. We know we have Terrence Shannon Jr.'s just kind of downhill scoring ability. He's been working on his 3-point shot.
Yep.
And it just hasn't clicked yet. We'll see what happens. But to this point, it's about as wrong as I've ever been talking about the Timberwolves bench players.
Let's go back to Clark, though, for a second, and Finch. What is going on with this is 2 consecutive games in which Jalen Clark has not been used at times defensively. Where and I guess Finch said Finch said the reason I didn't use him down the stretch more against the Suns was because if we had fouled them, they could have taken the lead on 2 free throws, and Clark plays a physical game. But that to me sounds like an excuse. Yeah, I know. I'm not advocating that this is the right take. I'm saying this is what I read.
Wait,
okay.
What?
So he said I didn't bring him in because he plays a physical game, and I was afraid that he would commit a foul and they would get 2 free throws and take a lead. It's not a good reason. But what I'm saying is, what's going on here? Like, Jalen Clark has a superpower, and you're like, nah, I don't know about that.
I mean, it was, dude, that Kings game the other night, that was the old Finch. That was the old Finch, essentially minus Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And a year older on Mike Conley. I saw, was it Dane? Someone tweeted out the other day that, boy, this Wolves team could sure use a trade that landed you Nickeil Alexander-Walker and 3 years ago version of Mike Conley. That would fix a lot of their problems. You'd have like an adult point guard who can initiate, and then you'd have this firecracker off the bench that can handle the ball too. But one more thing on Shannon here. Mm-hmm. When he's been on the court for the Timberwolves, they are a minus 14 points per 100 possessions this season. And when he's on the court versus off the court, they are 24 points worse per 100 possessions when he's on the court versus off. So his impact in very little playing time, and I get that, but enough to look at him and say, what's going on, dude? 7 points per 36 minutes for this electric scoring machine going back to high school? I don't know. So if that dude, he's like an unplayable rotation guy with the body of work we've seen so far, needs to snap out of it, or they're not going to be doing much damage. Yeah. I don't want to pile on because he was hurt, but we'll see.
Right.
Okay. Judd, you have a take coming up here after you give us a take about Mystic Lake.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right. And not just a place that is great to go to, a great time, Mystic Lake, but let's talk about the Hop House, okay? Because you are talking about a place that is the ultimate place to watch the game, or should I say, pretty much plural, the games on their big screens. Fantastic place to go to get game day eats. Lots of prizes as well. And here's the thing: when you walk in on a Sunday, what you are going to have is a fiesta of football. That's right. You're going to sit down, and there is going to be the Vikings game, of course, there. But you know what? The Vikings are struggling. They're not that great. But if you play fantasy or just like to watch the rest of the league all around that Vikings game, there are going to be games on. Great place to go. So next time that you're looking for a place to watch games, if you are a true sports fan, like the sports dad right here, it is Mystic Lake's Hop House is the place to be.
And a little closer to Target Center for Wolves fans, Brixworth is the place to be for home games, pre and post. Eat, drink with your friends, and then walk just down the street to Target Center. Parking options can be cheaper and a little more accessible too if you're willing to walk a couple blocks. And for road games, you can belly up and watch the game. They've got the signature Nas Reed Hazy IPA. At the OG Burnsville location, they do brew their own beer, and they put a focus on hazy IPAs. So if those things interest you, if you're a Wolves fan, just a couple blocks away from Target Center is Brixworth in the North Loop. Love that place. We had a great Flagrant Howls Unplugged event there during the playoff run last year, and it's a really fun place to hang out. So check it out. All right. Joe, what is your hottest Timberwolves take?
It's actually positive. Well, it's positive because it's going to get into a discussion about one thing that is potentially going to drive me crazy about this team. But my hottest Wolves take is, of course, the big game tonight, nationally televised, the Wolves at OKC, a rematch of the Western Conference Finals, the Thunder, an incredible 17-1. Not only do I believe that the Wolves are going to win this game, I think Ant is going to go for 45 or more points.
Wow.
And here's why.
You held out on us, son. Write that down.
Yep, I did. But here's why. Because this Wolves team is a good team. Now, do they lack certain things that could consistently help you? Yes. Do I think that their construction of their lineup is going to change for the playoffs with an infusion, perhaps, of a guy like Tre Jones? Yes, I do. But that being said, this is still a good team, and this is a team that's blown its last 2 games by, as Phil says, playing with its food. They've had pretty substantial leads late in both games. So they're not going on the road and like having these clunker 4-quarter games. They are falling apart at the end. And part of it is because I think there remains a weird, and I don't know how to describe it yet, so I'll just use this word. I think there remains a weird immaturity about this team at times as well, where they don't know how to handle things. But this is also the type of team that's going to look at this game on its schedule and say, Oklahoma City, are you kidding me? A chance for retribution? Now, it's a regular season game. I get that, okay? But teams still look at these games and think, time for some payback, and Ant especially. So I think we're going to see a huge game from Ant, who, if I'm not mistaken, was also over 40 points against the Suns and the Kings. He's going to do that again, and they are going to win. That does not mean that everything is well. I actually think it's frustrating at times because it's like, well, just take care of business consistently. Yeah. But I think the Wolves win tonight, and I think Ant has a huge game.
Well, wow. No hyperbole. This is the biggest regular season game of the season so far.
To this point.
Yeah, like by far. They've been playing some softies. It's the first match since the Western Conference Finals. The Thunder have won all but one game this season. Yeah, I mean, this is, in terms of marquee regular season matchups, this is about as heightened as it gets.
I think it does feel like they're going to, at least, I made the prediction. Declan has them winning. You have them winning. I made the prediction, and I write that down, that they would lead in the fourth quarter, and then Oklahoma City is so good, even sort of shorthanded too. But I will say this: we know that they're awesome. They're the best team in the NBA. They're the defending champions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you think the Wolves have played a cupcake schedule so far, Oklahoma City, I think, has played the weakest schedule of any team in the NBA so far this year, and they're doing exactly what they should with that weak schedule. They're beating everyone by like 25 or 30 points every night. Yep. Just in the last week and a half. Home against Portland, 27-point win. At Utah, 32-point win. Sacramento kept it kind of close, only a 14-point win at home against Sacramento. New Orleans was a 17-point win. They have played only, I think, 2 games in the last month against actual decent teams. And I say decent. Golden State and the Lakers on a back-to-back. And they won those games by 24 and 29 points. So they're trucking everyone, but they've played so many of the Utahs, the Sacramentos, the Pelicans, the Portlands, the et cetera, the Washingtons. And so have the Wolves. And Oklahoma City has taken care of those teams just like the Wolves had until this last week. So I'm not trying to take anything away. They're the best team, and they are the measuring stick. But I do think the Wolves will rise up more than they did in the fourth quarters against Phoenix and Sacramento for sure. But I think they lose, and I think we're going to be. I think the way that they lost those, it's tough because like when you blow those leads against the Kings and the Suns, it just makes if they lose to Oklahoma City, it heightens the feeling of negativity. It's like if you were coming off a couple wins. Yeah. And instead of being 10-7, you're 12-5 right now. All right, whatever. You played them tough and you lost. But if they lose again, even to Oklahoma City, it just exacerbates how bad the vibes are.
I think 2 things. I think that the Wolves, especially because of what happened these past 2 games, are going to take the game more seriously. Like OKC has lost once. And I'm not saying that they're going to just throw the basketball on the floor, but I am saying I think the Wolves are going to come out with an edge based on the past 2 games and based on what occurred in the Western Conference Finals. The other thing, and this is the frustrating thing, the other thing is I think the Wolves are here to play 48 tonight. I think the Wolves are going to play 48. There's going to be none of this. Like, they have literally drifted off to sleep at the end of these past 2 games. It's inexcusable. But Friday night in Phoenix is okay. Sacramento's not good, right? And so it's just like, oh, we're up by this. I mean, go back to the Kings game where Ant makes those 2 free throws and he's literally like celebrating and just standing there.
It was weird.
And it's like,
and then they just get a wide open 3 because he thought the game was over.
I know, but I mean,
that's just play the whole game.
Yeah, exactly right. But I mean, that's where I hope you're not going to see that tonight. I think they're going to play an entire game. And if they play an entire game, they can beat a lot of teams.
Sounds like Mike Conley called for a team dinner yesterday in Oklahoma City Thunder.
Team meeting.
To get the Wolves back on track. John Krasinski said, it was not optional, Julius Randle joked. They talked about getting on the same page and getting back to the way they were playing earlier.
Rudy Gobert had a quote too.
Yep.
I don't remember who picked this up because not a lot of the local writers are traveling, but it was, to paraphrase it, it was essentially guys need to lean back into team basketball and not going into business for themselves.
Yep.
In these late situations. It's like, man.
I've got the quote. He said, "Talking's great, but let's see if we care. Let's see if we actually care about doing the things we need to do to win and putting our teammates before ourselves."
Yeah.
That's a pretty damning quote for 2 consecutive losses, by the way.
It's also like, why is that an issue with this team still?
Right.
Why are they still dealing with, if his assessment is correct, that there's guys that just aren't doing the things necessary from a team standpoint? Why aren't you? Do you want to win a game? And also, who do you think he's talking about? Is he talking about Ant and Julius?
I think it's partially Ant for sure. Like it's partially Ant. Like, you can't celebrate like the game is done, and in Gobert's case, I could see it too, right? Because nobody takes more pride in defense than Gobert, and Ant is literally at the free throw line, like, all happy about this play, and doesn't really care about trying to come back and play D. But the problem with Ant, too, is it feels like every time on this show that we have, for the past 2 years, we have a conversation about his maturity upping, he proves us wrong almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Yep. Yeah. And it's getting to the point here in your mid-20s, and I know that we kind of went over this on Monday and last week. We're criticizing the gap between where he is, which is one of the 10 best players in the world, and where he could get to, because there's still more. There's still more. There's another level of just like consistency night in, night out. There's another level of end game management.
Yep.
And obviously playoff success until you win a championship. So on one hand, he's the best player on the team when they are up by 12 points on the road and he's got 40 on efficient shooting. It's in large part because of him. But that doesn't make him immune to the criticism in that gap. No. If I believe that he had reached his ceiling and his peak, I would say, hey, we got to look elsewhere for some of these answers. I don't think he has yet. So I think it's fair to keep poking at some of it. And it felt like Gobert did with that quote.
And how do you keep the basketball maturity consistent? That's my thing, because I mean, that's a decision, and I know he's a young guy in life, but he's been playing this game for a long time. So I'm not asking him, I'm not saying that he isn't going to make mistakes, but there does seem to be like, dude, you are the captain, you're the de facto captain of this team, right? And like, Phil, I feel like when you talk about there's more, you're talking about his game itself, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But you need to act like a veteran as far as your approach.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room for screwing around. You're too good.
Yeah. Yeah, the hitting those free throws and then like standing there and celebrating, and then kind of he was backpedaling to the half court line, kind of feeling himself and pimping it, while Sacramento is rushing out and then you see him, oh, I got to snap my guy's out here on the wing, and the guy's got a wide open three as he flies by. It's like, dude, unnecessary. But we'll see. Oklahoma City, you guys have them winning. So positive Judd, positive Dex. And hopefully you guys have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow, and we'll catch up with you again soon here on Flagrant Howls, a Timberwolves lifestyle podcast. See ya.